Coming up today on the news at noon, a new lead in the case of a missing man in Haywood County, how a tip leading to a dumpster could provide a break in a nearly 2 decades long case. Plus,
put the guns down, pick up a book.
North Nashville residents are fed up with the violence this noon after a shooting near the campus of TSU during homecoming weekend. Find out where police stand in the investigation. And you could be paying more for your home because of a substantial property tax increase in Shelby County. Look at what you pay ahead of that rate hike 9 months away. And could we finally start to feel like fall this week? With expert Max Claypool will have the answer. Stay tuned, News Channel 3 at noon is next.
She's a YouTube star, comedian, and host of A Little Late with Lily Singh.
I love you. I watch your YouTube videos and your TikTok videos every day.
I love it. They're so nice to meet you.
Ladies, please. I love you too.
We love you too.
A new Price is Right at night, Wednesday, 8/7 Central, or stream anytime on CBS.
From WREG in Memphis, this is News Channel 3 at noon.
A breaking news update tops the news at noon on a story we brought you as breaking news yesterday. A teenager has now been charged in a fatal weekend shooting, killing another 16-year-old. Thanks for choosing your news leader here at noon. I'm Noah Sershin in for Zanetta and Todd. Shelby County Sheriff's deputies aren't releasing the name of that teenager since he is a minor. We told you about the shooting that happened around 2 p.m. yesterday on Mill Hill Avenue in Cordova. Deputies found a teenager that was shot. That teen was taken to the Regional 1 hospital in critical condition where he later died. The 16-year-old suspect has charges ranging from first-degree murder to tampering with evidence. There is still no word on what led up to the shooting. Our Jessica Knox is speaking with people who live in that area. Look for her update tonight on the news at 4:30. And another breaking news update for you now. We have learned that the early morning crash on I-40 and Appling Road was fatal. Police say the crash happened around 1. A driver was traveling westbound on the interstate when it collided with an unoccupied vehicle. MPD said that that vehicle was unoccupied because a man was checking his car for damages from a previous crash. He was hit while checking on his car and did not survive. And breaking news now in the nearly 2 decades long search for Freddie Whitmore. A forensics team in Haywood County today searching after a new lead. WREG's Mike Sirianni takes us there with an update in this long-standing case.
Haywood County deputies have sealed off this area on Highway 179 in Stanton after receiving a tip the remains of a man missing for 19 years could be in this location. Sheriff Billy Garrett telling us that the daughter of Freddie Whitmore, who was 72 at the time he was reported missing, notified his office that she had received a tip that her father's body was located here. A cadaver dog over the weekend did indicate on possible human remains here, and now the Sheriff's Department is waiting for a forensics team from Memphis to come to the site to help verify that information. I'll be following up on this story, have a report later today, and we'll be updating this story, of course, on WREG.com. For your news leader in Haywood County, I'm Mike Sirianni, WREG News Channel 3.
I will look for your report later on, Mike. Thanks. A dog is shot to death in Whitehaven, and police are now saying the person who shot that dog acted in self-defense. Police say that they responded to an animal shooting after 6 at the Bentry Apartments off of Winchester. The dog's owner told police that she let her dogs out after she came home from work just before 4 this morning. Both of the dogs were unleashed when they ran towards the neighbor. It was at that point police said that the man fired a warning shot to scare the animals away. Police say the man feared for his safety when both dogs ran towards him. Metro Nashville police are pursuing strong leads to identify the people responsible for a deadly shooting near Tennessee State University. Audrey Mayer from our sister station WKRN in Nashville has the latest from police and the community on how they're dealing with this tragedy.
A green jacket with blue jeans, other occupant, black and white jacket with blue jeans. Peaking area is going to be Jefferson and 28th North and also at 26th.
A day after Saturday's shooting near Tennessee State University, police are identifying the man who died as 24-year-old Vonquay Johnson. 2 of the 10 people shot are suspected to be involved in the shooting, and both refused to be interviewed at the hospital, according to detectives. Metro Police say gun shell casings found on Jefferson Street indicate the suspects were shooting at each other from across the street as crowds were starting to thin out from a TSU homecoming weekend gathering.
This affects all of us, and we just got to pray that our young people will put their guns down, pick up a book. We've got to change the mentality of the way things are going.
Michael Joyner, a pastor at a nearby church, says he was 1 block away from the shooting when it happened and knows several people who were there.
Just keep on praying for our community. Don't give up. We've got to keep pressing and praying. The whole community should not take the blame for this one incident, and there's brighter days ahead.
Metro PD clarified the shooting is not a reflection of TSU, but a disturbance to what should have been an enjoyable celebration. They say the shooting came as a shock to everyone, even first responders who were already there and thought the gunfire may have been fireworks.
This type of gun violence has just got to stop. We would have never expected that this would have happened here with all of the law enforcement, all of the public safety people here, the fire department. We would have never have expected this to have taken place.
And that was Audrey Mayer reporting. Police say that of the 10 people shot, 3 of them were girls ranging from ages 12 to 14 with non-life-threatening injuries. In a crime alert, a woman has now been arrested for a shooting at a house full of people. Police say 30-year-old Khadijah Mora was arrested today on 6 counts of second-degree murder. Police got a call to a home on Yale Avenue in Binghamton after 4. One of the victims said that she was in a fight with Khadijah Mora, and she said that the fight ended with Mora hitting her in the head with a brick. Reports say that after the fight, Mora told the victim that she would kill everyone in the house. Mora left the home but returned 30 minutes later, firing several shots at the house. 5 people were outside and on the front porch at the time of the shooting, and the other 5 were inside the house. There were no injuries, but the house was hit multiple times. Mora's bond has not been set, and she is scheduled to appear in court tomorrow morning. Scary moments for a driver in Overton Park after being allegedly hit by 2 men with a handgun and shot while running away from a carjacking. Police say it all happened Saturday on Overton Park Avenue. The man said the suspects hit him with a gun and then carjacked him. He ran off, but they shot him. The next day, police say that they found the car on Germantown Parkway. Ashton Marshall is now facing several charges, including theft and evading arrest. Police say Marshall was the passenger when they chased the stolen car. No word on the other suspect in this case. Our Shay Simon is working the story and will have an update tonight on the news at 6. The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency confirmed that they found the body of a missing man on the Tennessee River. Authorities say that 46-year-old Jonathan Finley from Adamsville, Tennessee, was on the river this Saturday. The TWRA got a call about an unoccupied boat floating near mile marker 192. A chair and fishing equipment believed to belong to the fishermen was also discovered along the riverbank. Since that call came in, the Hardin County Fire Department and Sheriff's Office has helped the TWRA search for that missing man. The incident is still under investigation and marks the 21st boating accident in the volunteer state this year. Across the nation, cleanup efforts continue in Florida just days after Hurricane Milton swept through the state as a Category 3 storm, leaving at least 23 people dead. Officials say that number could have been much higher if it wasn't for the widespread evacuation orders. President Biden has announced an additional $600 million to be designated to storm victims after he toured the damage over the weekend. Right now, volunteers from across the state are installing solar-powered generators and buckets to just flush toilets. It could take weeks to restore service to those in Florida and North Carolina. And back here in Tennessee, people are still reeling from Hurricane Helene, and donations are still pouring into East Tennessee. A group of volunteers made their way to Bristol's Motor Speedway, helping to get donations for Helene. Justin Ward is a member of the German Club at Virginia Tech. He and his fellow members made a stop in Bristol following a trip to Gatlinburg.
We were just kind of calling around, and we actually got led here through the park system, and they just said show up, so we decided to show up and help out on our way home.
He says it was his desire to help people after a trip to Damascus, Virginia, where he met people also impacted by a storm. He says he was also touched by the time and effort put forth by other volunteers.
Well, if you've been outside today, you've probably noticed the drop in our temperatures. That's thanks to these north winds. It's also thanks to a cold front that passed yesterday. And so that's bringing much cooler air into the Mid-South. This is a live look from one of our brand new Gold Strike cameras, part of our Gold Strike camera network, the I-40 bridge. Perfectly clear skies here reflecting off the muddy Mississippi, though looking blue here underneath the blue skies. Temperatures are in the 60s, about 65 here in Memphis, 63 in Olive Branch, 66 in Senatobia. And we're not going to get a whole lot warmer than this. It's going to pretty much, these are just a couple degrees below our high temperatures for today, which will eventually reach around 68, 69 degrees. So we have maybe 3 degrees to go before we hit that high temperature. Now, just a quick check on the tropics. There is one system in the Atlantic now. This has a 50% chance of further development over the next 7 days as it moves towards Puerto Rico, so nothing to worry about right now, but we will keep our eye on it. For your weather headlines, folks, fall is here. It's cool, it's breezy. These north winds are the reason for it, and plenty of sunshine as well. Pretty much throughout the entire week, we have no rain in the forecast, sunny skies, cool temperatures in the 60s, overnight lows in the 40s before we finally warm up again a little bit next weekend. But overall, especially for today and the next couple of days, this is a very nice, crisp forecast.
All right, thanks, Max. An incoming property tax in Shelby County has us talking about your money. The county tax assessor is holding a series of town halls aimed at addressing those concerns. But first, let's start with a breakdown of what those taxes are. For a home valued at around $100,000, $848 would be owed. For a $200,000 home, rather, it's around $1,700. For a $300,000 home, right here, you can see it's around $2,500. Those town hall meetings aren't just for homeowners. They're for business owners, investors, realtors, and residents. Shelby County property taxes will increase next year, but how much is still undetermined. The increase will be quite substantial, though. Today's town hall meeting will be at the Baker Community Center on Church Street in Millington. If you can't make it to that one, there'll be another meeting at the Singleton Community Center on October 29th in Bartlett. Coming up on the news at noon, spending this Halloween is looking a little spooky, while consumers seem to be cutting back on spending this Halloween season. But first, we're in the home stretch for the race for the White House. Up next, a look at a new poll that shows a tight margin between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Also, how a group of Memphis men are trying to rally more black men to support the vice president. Oh, and do you see news happening in your neighborhood? We'd love to hear from you. Call WREG at 901-543-2333. Email newstips@wreg.com, or you can just message us on our Facebook page. The news at noon returns right after this break. And welcome back to the News at Noon. News Channel 3 is your local election headquarters. And over the weekend, former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris honed in on key domestic issues like illegal immigration and the economy. However, a new CBS News poll is showing one candidate with a slight edge nationally among likely voters. CBS's Natalie Ruckham is in Washington with the latest.
Former President Donald Trump focused on a top campaign issue in key border state Arizona: immigration.
When I win on November 5th, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins.
Trump touted an endorsement from the Border Patrol Union, vowing to hire 10,000 more border agents and raise their pay.
They're going to save our country.
Vice President Kamala Harris stumped in North Carolina, laying out her plans for the economy and health care, including a pledge to expand Medicare to cover home health care for seniors.
We will lower costs, including on everything from health care to groceries.
It comes as Harris holds a slight edge over Trump in the latest CBS News polls nationally and in the battleground states.
Your vote is your voice, and your voice is your power.
This morning, the vice president is also honing in on another key voting bloc: Black men voters. The campaign has released several policy proposals that include giving fully forgivable loans to Black business startups, a national health equity initiative to address conditions that disproportionately impact Black men, like sickle cell disease, and also legalizing recreational marijuana and creating opportunities in that industry.
That was CBS's Natalie Ruckham reporting. Now that poll shows that voters on both sides are becoming skeptical of what they see on social media, meaning that the candidates will have to clarify their message in person in those swing states.
You have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting out?
Former President Barack Obama not holding back when speaking to Black voters about the state of the election. A new poll is showing that Black men seem to not support the vice president's run for the White House. And because of that, a call to action from the former president, Attorney Benjamin Crump, along with Black city and state leaders, did the same thing today. They held a call for Black men to support Kamala Harris. Crump said that Black men are pivotal in deciding who will win the election, and he's unsure why there is some hesitancy in the Black community when it comes to Harris. However, he urges Black men that Harris is the most qualified candidate.
Vice President Kamala Harris is one of the most qualified individuals who has ran for president when you look at her credentials. Yeah, absolutely.
And just a reminder of the voting schedule here in the Mid-South. Early voting in Tennessee starts this Wednesday. In Arkansas, early voting begins on the 21st. That's next Monday. Missouri residents can early vote next Tuesday, the 22nd. Mississippi does not have early voting, but you can vote absentee in person now through November 2nd. If you mail it in, make sure it's postmarked on or before Election Day. In Money Matters, consumers seem to be cutting back on Halloween spending. A National Retail Federation survey shows that Americans will spend a little more than $11 billion on candy, costumes, and decorations. Last year, more than $12 billion was spent on Halloween.
All right, folks, if you've been outside today, you've probably noticed that it is cool, crisp, and fall-like. Really a fantastic forecast for you. Winds coming out of the north right now. That's helping to bring in that cooler air to places like Shelby Farms Park, where you can see there is a bit of a breeze here. So that is those north winds coming in, keeping our temperatures in the mid 60s here in Memphis, about 65 degrees, 63 in Corinth, 63 in Dyersburg. Even cooler temperatures are up to the north. Places like Kansas City and St. Louis are in the 50s right now, and that air is on the way. These north winds are going to bring that air down, and so today is cool enough, but it's going to keep getting cooler over the next couple of days. Tonight, we'll be dropping down into the mid-40s, 44 there in Wynn, same with Covington, Brownsville, Bolivar at 42, Holly Springs 43. So those are our low temperatures for tonight. Now, as that cold front, which is already passed, continues to push down, a cold front is basically the leading edge of a cold air mass. So what you have is a big blob of cold air. That cold front is basically the leading edge of it. And so as that cool air continues to push down, our temperatures will continue to fall over the next couple of days as that cold air moves in. Certainly going to be below average, blue representing below average temperatures, red representing above average temperatures. Really, the entire eastern half of the country is going to be below average with the Arctic air that's pushing down across really a good portion of the country. Now, this is not going to last forever. This pattern eventually breaks down next weekend as high pressure starts to build. As it does, our winds flip out of the south, and so we're going to bring warmer air into the mid-south with higher pressure, and so our temperatures will go from the 60s for highs during the week to the 70s next weekend. But still, that's not summer. That's still some cool air, especially during the morning and at night. Speaking of the morning, we could see a freeze or definitely some frost on Wednesday morning and Thursday morning across a good portion of the area here. So the dark blue is a potential freeze as temperatures will be dropping down into the 30s across the mid-south. Here's a look at our high temperatures, 68 today, 66 tomorrow, 62 Wednesday, and then we start the climb back up to the 70s, 74 on Saturday, 75 on Sunday. Humidity, you can forget about it, totally bottomed out here, so the humidity is not going to be a factor really whatsoever this week. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast to put it all together. Highs in the 60s, overnight lows in the 30s and the 40s. Plenty of sunshine during this forecast, and so that is going to be really pretty nice. I mean, I think we will definitely take the sunshine, and we'll take the fact that there is no rain in this forecast, and so it is a very, very nice one, especially during the week.
The real fall is here, thanks Max. Video 911 calls are coming to millions of iPhone users. Just ahead on the news at 4, we'll show you how the technology works and just why call takers say that it could be life-saving. Then at 4:30, teaching the importance of taking a positive path, we'll introduce you to a lady inspiring others to turn challenges into an opportunity. But still ahead on the news at noon, don't throw away your shot. Hamilton is coming back to the Bluff City. We'll tell you when you'll be able to see it. Well, it's back. Hamilton is returning to the Orpheum next year, but if you want to be in the theater, tickets go on sale this week. The Tony Award-winning musical will be back in Memphis February 18th through March 2nd. Tickets go on sale Thursday at 10 a.m. The price for tickets range from $49 to $199. There will be a lottery for 40 $10 seats for all performances, but details on that will be released later. Well, some exciting news. NASA's Europa Clipper started its 5.5-year journey to Jupiter. The spacecraft will look beneath the icy crust of Europa, which is one of Jupiter's 95 moons. They're looking for organic compounds and energy sources used to sustain life. It was carried into orbit on SpaceX's Falcon Heavy rocket this morning. The entire mission spans nearly 2 decades with a price tag of $5.2 billion.
Temperatures here are going to be in the 60s for the week. Overnight lows in the 30s and the 40s. Wednesday night's probably going to be the coolest of the mornings, where we could have some frost building in, and then it will eventually warm up to the 70s for the weekend.
Sounds good, Max. Thank you for being here with us for the news at noon. We'll see you back at 4. Have a great day.